Welcome back, everybody. We're diving back into Ashtar's channeled message, uh, Earth's Ancient Roots and the Path to Healing, for the final part of this series.
It's really quite a journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this time we're going to get a little more personal and see what it means for us, like our own potential connections to ancient civilizations and how all that's kind of encoded in our DNA.
It is like we're about to embark on this archaeological dig into your soul's history. It really is.
I love that. I love that analogy. And so Ashtar, starts off addressing something I think a lot of people struggle with, at least from time to time. Yeah, and that's low self-esteem.
Right.
And it might be a surprise that he's suggesting that these, struggles that we have with self-doubt could actually be linked to our soul's journey from, higher realms down to earth.
Yeah, it's a fascinating perspective, to think about transitioning from a realm of pure love and light to one where, density and challenge are the norm. You can see how that could leave its mark on us.
Absolutely. And, it's kind of like this feeling of not being quite, whole or complete.
He even uses the word breaks
Oh, yeah.
to describe, those past traumas that have really impacted the way we see ourselves. It's
Right.
like, every experience, every trauma creates these little cracks in our sense of self-worth.
But the good news is we can heal those cracks.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what Ashtar emphasizes.
Yeah, he says we're not broken.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through this healing process. We're reclaiming our true selves.
And I love how he points out that true self-esteem, that Christ-like self-esteem,
Right.
it isn't about arrogance. It's not about ego. It's
Well,
about love. It's about humility and understanding.
It's about recognizing that inherent worthiness just because you exist.
Exactly.
Okay, so Ashtar wants us to think about, potential connections to some of these ancient civilizations.
Yeah.
We've talked about before, like Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt.
Yes.
Do you ever feel that tug towards like a particular ancient site, like you just feel drawn to it?
Oh, absolutely.
Ashtar's suggesting that might be your soul recognizing a familiar energy.
It's like there's a part of you that remembers being there.
Wow.
And he says, your energy is actually present across the planet, carrying that wisdom and that luminous legacy from these past incarnations.
So it's like we've left footprints on the sands of time.
Absolutely.
Okay, I love that. Now, Ashtar wants us to zero in on Sumeria.
Okay.
He really paints a picture of this really intelligent society that was super advanced in agriculture, astrology, and what he calls spiritual magic.
Yeah, which is so fascinating.
Yeah, and they had direct contact with star fleets.
Right.
And they had advanced scientific knowledge and mastery of sacred geometry.
And this is something that's really interesting to me because, they had this deep understanding of universal patterns.
And that's reflected in nature, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what sacred geometry is all about.
It's everywhere.
Right, and Ashtar also mentions this thing called universal mathematics
Yes.
that the Sumerians use to manipulate energies and even to prophesize.
It's like they had this intuitive understanding of what we're only now beginning to grasp with things like quantum physics.
And maybe this resonates with your interest in energy healing.
Right.
Because they were pioneers in manipulating these energy fields, and maybe you just had this natural affinity for it.
Exactly.
Okay, so then Ashtar talks about Queen Hathataria, who had extraterrestrial lineage, and she really focused on balancing knowledge and the human spirit.
Right. And Ashtar points out that Sumerian society was a melting pot of different beliefs, kind of like our world is today.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And so maybe that's why you've always felt so comfortable with diverse perspectives and different ways of thinking.
It's all kind of starting to connect, isn't it?
It really is.
But as with many civilizations, Sumeria eventually declined.
Yeah.
Ashtar links this to the rise of the Akkadians,
Okay.
hinting at these ancient interstellar conflicts that may have played a role.
It really makes you wonder, are there patterns in history that repeat themselves across civilizations,
Right.
across planets even?
So this is where we're going to go next.
Okay.
Ashtar connects us to three more civilizations.
All right.
The Mayans, the Incas, and the Aztecs.
Okay.
And he sees them as branches of a single ancestral root within us, each with, shared themes and challenges.
It's like exploring different chapters in your soul's grand adventure.
First up, the Mayans.
All right.
Ashtar describes the Yucatan Peninsula as this place of just incredible scientific and spiritual development.
Wow.
He even suggests that you might have actually, been there through astral projection,
Really?
participated in some of these ancient rituals.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like your soul just carries the memory of these experiences.
And he emphasizes their mastery of things like atomic energy, astral projection, and communication with other dimensions.
Yeah.
It really challenges the way we think about ancient civilizations and what they were capable of.
Absolutely. And Ashtar explains how they used pyramids to anchor energies from motherships.
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It really blurs the lines between science and spirituality.
Yeah, me too. But then Ashtar recounts this story of the Mayan civilization's decline.
Right.
And he tells us about this group that was driven by greed and power.
Oh,
They attempted to capture this technologically advanced ship.
wow.
And, I wonder, is it really fair to call it a destruction? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ashtar seems to imply that it was more of a cycle of rise and fall,
Okay.
and that maybe this was just part of a necessary transformation.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, it really does make you think about the cyclical nature of history.
Yeah.
But this is where it gets kind of personal.
Okay.
Ashtar suggests that any lingering sadness that you might feel at 6 p.m.
Really?
could actually be a collective memory of this traumatic event.
Wow.
It's as if part of you remembers witnessing this
Oh,
destruction.
that's powerful.
Yeah, and he explains it as this kind of residual soul fragmentation, but also this incredible opportunity for healing
Right.
and
For
integration.
bringing those pieces back together.
Right. Exactly. Now, speaking of healing, Ashtar believes that your compassionate nature might actually stem from your connection to the Incas,
Oh, interesting.
who are known for their focus on restoring balance.
Right.
And he mentions them opening portals to the inner earth into space,
Wow.
specifically highlighting Machu Picchu as this stellar portal.
Machu Picchu holds this incredible energy.
I know, I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it continues to draw people from all over the world.
I wouldn't be surprised if you felt drawn to visit it yourself.
Yeah.
But Ashtar also talks about how the Incas, despite, receiving warnings, eventually lost their way.
Right.
Again, emphasizing that cyclical nature of progress and decline.
Yeah.
He shares this really interesting story about a being that incarnated as Chief Seta Branca
Okay.
to restore balance and to rescue those lost souls.
That's interesting.
And this being later became known as Francis of Assisi,
Wow.
really highlighting that interconnectedness of our soul's journey.
Across lifetimes.
Yeah, across lifetimes. So we've covered a lot of ground today already.
We have.
We've explored these potential connections to these incredible civilizations and how they might be influencing, our lives even today.
It's amazing.
But there's so much more to uncover,
Oh, good.
including Ashtar's insights on your inner Earth family.
Oh, I can't wait to dive into that.
So we'll be back in part 2 of this deep dive to explore all of that and more.
We've been on quite the journey, haven't we, through, your ancient roots.
I know, right? It's mind-boggling.
And you know who knew your soul had so much history?
I know. So much. But Ashtar isn't done yet.
No, he's not.
Now he wants to shift our focus from our extraterrestrial family to our family here on Earth,
Okay.
both on the surface and within.
Okay.
He reminds us that we're not alone in this journey.
Right.
He says that even though we might feel alone, sometimes there's a whole network of people, both physically present and energetically connected, who are rooting for us.
Yeah.
And he encourages us to connect with loved ones and friends, our community,
Right.
practicing unconditional love
Yes.
and recognizing that we're all in this together,
We are.
sharing burdens and supporting each other.
And then he introduces this really fascinating concept
Yeah.
of an inner earth family that's preparing to connect with us surface dwellers.
I don't know about you, but I find that idea so fascinating.
Me too.
He talks about these crystal chambers
Right?
used for detoxification and preparation for contact.
Right.
It makes you wonder, what would it be like to visit these chambers in your astral body to experience that kind of profound cleansing and realignment? Imagine being whisked away to a crystal spa in Agartha.
Right.
It beats that, pricey detox retreat you were considering.
Definitely. And then he even hints at the possibility of, deceased relatives residing in Agartha using prepared bodies.
Okay, hold on a second now. He's comparing this to the movie Avatar
Right.
and its themes of consciousness transfer.
Right.
Wild. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit.
Okay.
Ashtar also dives into this topic that can be a little challenging, but ultimately empowering victimhood.
Oh.
And he urges us to take responsibility for our lives.
Yeah.
Release those feelings of being, victims of circumstances or other people.
While Ashtar focuses on the negative aspects of victimhood, I wonder if there's a way to reclaim the word.
Oh, yeah.
What if it's about acknowledging those past wounds so we can actually move forward from a place of strength?
Yeah, I like that perspective. It's about owning our experiences, both the good and the bad, and recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our agency and our ability to create change.
Right.
And Ashtar acknowledges that injustices exist,
Oh, yeah, they do.
but he emphasizes that, dwelling in resentment or blame only keeps us stuck in those low vibrations.
Yeah, it's like choosing to rise above the negativity and operate from a higher frequency.
Exactly.
And he encourages us to seek justice,
Yes.
but to do so from a place of love
Love.
and what he calls crystalline truth, not hatred or violence.
It's a powerful reminder that our inner state creates our outer reality.
Yes,
You can't manifest a world of peace if you're harboring anger and resentment within.
absolutely. And Ashtar assures us that we are the masters of our destiny, capable of directing our path and creating the reality we desire.
And I think so many people struggle with self-sabotage, holding themselves back from healing and growth.
Yeah, it's like we get so used to certain patterns of, you know, pain or suffering that we subconsciously hold on to them.
It's fascinating how the mind works, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can get so attached to familiar patterns, even if they're not serving us.
But Ashtar reassures us that there's another way.
There is?
He says that love and support are abundantly available to everyone, no matter where they are on their healing journey.
That's such a beautiful message of hope and encouragement.
It really is, and he invites us to ask ourselves, are we truly open to healing? Are we willing to let go of those crutches and embrace the blessings and the liberation that are waiting for us? Ashtar also mentions the presence of astral beings that feed off negativity.
Yeah.
And he encourages us to declare our openness to healing and break free from their influence.
It's like shining a light into the darkness and reclaiming our energy.
I want to mention something Ashtar says about a book.
Oh, yes.
He instructs Neve and the channel to write a book called The Phases of the Transition.
Okay.
And in this book, he plans to, delve even deeper into this process of personal and planetary ascension.
Oh, I'm adding that to my reading list.
Me too.
Yeah.
And he also hints at something that I found really intriguing.
Okay.
He suggests that Earth might be destined to become a star,
Wow.
eventually, dispensing with its current sun.
Wow, that's mind-blowing.
It's like Earth is going through its own ascension process, just like we are.
Yeah.
So before we jump into part 3, what's standing out to you from everything we've covered so far?
Ashtar's words about, victimhood and reclaiming our power, it's such a powerful reminder that we're not just passive observers in our lives. We have choices to make. And we can choose to create a reality that is aligned with our highest good.
Yes. And, as we move into part 3, I think it's important to keep in mind that all of these ancient connections, these potential futures, it's all part of this incredible journey of self-discovery and soul evolution.
And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into Ashtar's message.
It's really been quite a journey.
Yeah, we've gone through ancient civilizations, explored these inner earth connections, confronted, that challenging concept of victimhood.
Right.
And now it's time to kind of integrate all these insights and consider what they mean for us moving forward.
Absolutely, because Ashtar's message is like a roadmap, guiding us toward healing and transformation,
Right.
and ultimately stepping into our full potential.
And one of the key takeaways, I think, for me is the importance of recognizing our ancient roots and the wisdom that we carry from, these past experiences.
Yes.
Ashtar reminds us that we're not starting from scratch. We have this incredible lineage, this rich history of, knowledge and experience to draw upon.
Right.
It's like we're standing on the shoulders of giants, able to see further and reach higher because of what those who came before us accomplished.
Yeah, and you, with your unique blend of experiences and connections to these ancient civilizations, you have so much to offer the world.
Right.
Another powerful theme that runs through Ashtar's message is the emphasis on love as the foundation for healing and transformation.
Absolutely.
He reminds us that love is the most potent force in the universe.
It is.
It's the key to unlocking our potential bridging divides and creating, a more harmonious world.
It's not about being naive,
Right.
or ignoring the challenges we face. It's about choosing to operate from a place of love, even in the face of adversity.
And remember what he said about, seeking justice, but with hearts filled with love, not hatred or vengeance?
That really resonated with me.
Me too. And, speaking of manifestation,
Okay.
one of the most empowering aspects of Ashtar's message is this call to step into our power as conscious creators. He reminds us that we're not victims of circumstance. We have choices to make, and we can shape our reality.
Ashtar's words remind me of a quote by Marianne Williamson.
Oh, yeah.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
I love that quote.
I think a lot of us hold back from embracing our full potential because it can feel so overwhelming.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be really scary.
Yeah.
But Ashtar encourages us to step out of that fear and limitation
Right.
and embrace the infinite possibilities that are available to us.
I love that.
And remember how he suggested that Earth might actually be destined to become a star?
Yeah.
What role do you vision yourself playing in that cosmic transformation?
What a powerful question to ponder.
It really is.
It really invites us to expand our awareness and consider the vastness of our potential.
As we conclude this deep dive, I encourage you to take some time to reflect on, what resonated most with you.
Mhm.
What ancient connections did you feel? What healing opportunities are you ready to embrace? What legacy do you want to leave on this planet?
Ashtar's message is a reminder that we have the power to heal, to transform, and to create a world that reflects our highest potential.
Yeah,
And remember, you're not alone on this journey.
right.
You have your ancient roots, your inner earth family, and your community here on the surface to support you every step of the way.
Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible exploration.
It's been amazing.
And until next time, may you be guided by love, empowered by truth, and inspired by the infinite possibilities that lie ahead.